this is Mr. Peterson. This screencast is about the big idea of inertia. So eventually we're going to get to Newton's first law. That's the law of inertia. But we need to just spend a couple of seconds talking about some ideas that led up to Isaac Newton. So Aristotle was a great thinker. That was kind of his deal. An ancient Greek, lived a couple of thousand years ago, and sat around and thought great thoughts, and lots of people listened to what he had to say. As a matter of fact, many of his ideas lasted thousands of years. But it was just thought. He did thought experiments. So his idea of things moving originated with the idea of a prime mover, that you couldn't see anything moving in the heavens, so therefore there must be a prime mover that are moving the planets and the stars and everything that there is. And that prime mover still caused things to move on planet Earth. So when the prime mover, or you started a ball rolling, right, you added a force to it, well, the prime mover continued on with it. So in other words, the force was somehow invisibly pushing the ball or whatever it is, the rock or whatever it is that happened to be moving. So it was kind of a rough idea of inertia. So not like Yoda. This one. Now along comes Galileo in the 1500s, in the 1600s, and his idea is a little bit more refined. So the idea that with a force that's applied, objects will tend to stay in motion without, continued addition of force. So that was kind of his big idea. He didn't really wrap his head all the way around it the way this guy did, Sir Isaac Newton, because he eventually came up with, the law of inertia, and he spent a lot of time exploring forces. So as the ball is sitting there, a couple of forces are acting on it. We have the force of gravity, plus, Newton reasoned, there's also a force pushing back, and that's the force of the ramp that it's sitting on. So when you do add a force to it, the forces become unbalanced because that ball just wants to sit there until the forces become unbalanced, and then it moves. And so Newton came up with this law, and you can read through that, and we call that the first law of inertia. So if you're taking notes, which I hope that you are in your fill, that's what you want to write down, Newton's first law. So you can pause and jot down those things, or maybe even draw some pictures of what just happened. So with Newton, forces are balanced when objects are at rest or when objects are in motion. So as long as an object continues in a balanced way to be at rest, so a rock sitting on the ground, as long as there are no other forces that act on it, it's going to remain at rest. The same thing for an object that's traveling, that's in motion. If the forces remain balanced, in other words, not one force is stronger than the other, then the object will remain in motion. So they tend to stay in motion, they tend to stay at rest. All right, so some examples. So here's Wile E. Coyote. Where's inertia being shown here in this little story? So make a prediction. Pause it, because it's going to last. Make a prediction. What's going to happen? What does he expect? So how does Wile E. Coyote not understand the boulder's inertia? That poor coyote. Here he is again. He's got an old jalopy this time. There's going to be a couple other questions about inertia here. Meep, meep. Oof. Oh, he's going to bring up the cannon because that's an effective tool against the coyote. All right, so get ready. Here comes the question. Write the answer down. Pause it. Where's inertia being shown here? Now, what doesn't he understand? Oh, man. What? There's inertia. This cannonball is moving. Where's inertia being shown there? What's going to happen? We can't watch. Ooh. Now, what about this? Here's a skateboarder parked on top of a cart. Where's the inertia there? What happens if The person holding the cart moves the cart. What's going to happen to the skateboarder? Make a prediction for that. Now, this is not a movie, unfortunately, so we'll just have to talk about this one in class. What about this? If those of you that are, I'm an old school skateboarder, how does inertia play into this skateboarder's ability to do tricks? So, Isaac Newton's law, the first law of motion, is inertia. So it deals with objects at rest, objects in motion, and whether the forces are balanced or not. So, hey, that's inertia. Hope that helps.